Hey everyone, today we're going to be making this poncho, and it's one of my favorite things I've made. It's really great to style for the fall and winter with different layers, and it's really simple and great for beginners because it's just a rectangle. So we're going to walk through all of those steps, so let's get started. To construct the poncho, we'll be crocheting a long rectangle, folding it in half, and then it makes a smaller rectangle, and on the long side of that, we'll slip stitch and leave a 1-foot head hole. So now that we have the head hole, if we rotate this smaller rectangle, it creates that asymmetrical look of the poncho that when you wear, it drapes really nicely. But if you put your arm up, you'll see that smaller rectangle that we created and the portion that we slip stitched to then create that 1-foot head hole. For the brown poncho, the dimensions of my rectangle were about 21 inches by 56 inches, whereas for the black poncho, it was about 21 inches by 66 inches. I made the black poncho first using this rule of thumb. If you measure from your collarbone down to where you want the poncho to hit on your arm, that's going to be the short side of your rectangle, and then for the long side, it's twice that plus 24 inches. I made this black poncho first with acrylic, and it's great, but it's a little bit stiff and has a lot of material hanging down. So for the brown poncho, I wanted to have less material, making that rectangle width 56 inches instead of 66, and I also used a soft yarn. This wool cotton blend from Woolfolk I found at my local yarn store is a great option, but it's a bit expensive. It's $22 for 164 yards, and I used a little over 6 of them. So you could go to Michael's and find a soft yarn that's a similar weight. I found this heathered bamboo from Loops and Threads, and it's about $6 to $8. You'll also need a crochet hook. I used a 5mm hook for the acrylic yarn and a 4mm hook for the wool cotton blend. You'll also need a sewing needle to weave in your ends and a measuring tape. Next, you can choose any pattern for the rectangle to make our poncho. I recommend some sort of mesh pattern so that there's holes and it's a bit more breathable, and it's also quicker to crochet. For the black acrylic yarn poncho, I used double crochet mesh. And then for the wool cotton brown poncho, I wanted to play around with different patterns, so I made this swatch, and it has double crochet mesh, triple crochet with different hook sizes, and then I settled on this mixed woven mesh from Nordic Hook, which I'll link their free pattern down below, and that's what I used for the brown poncho, so feel free to choose any pattern that you like. At this point, you might be ready to start your poncho, so feel free if you are. I'm going to walk through the crocheting step by step, and go through those 2 patterns. The double crochet mesh is great for beginners and just uses chains and double crochet, and the mixed woven mesh adds a little variety with triple crochet too. At any point, feel free to pause or slow down the video to align with the speed that you would like. The double crochet mesh pattern starts out with a foundation chain, represented by those circles, and then there's double crochets, represented by that T shape with the slash, that have 1 chain in between each double crochet. So double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet, which creates a hole in our pattern, hence why it's called a mesh pattern. To start, we'll make a slip knot. And if you need a refresher on any beginner crochet techniques, feel free to check out my videos for absolute beginners. So next we'll be making our foundation chain. This is going to be an odd number of stitches, and it's the width of that large rectangle we talked about earlier. So mine was 66 inches for this black poncho, but choose whatever width is going to be best for your measurements. Now that we have our odd number of chains, we're going to chain 3 more. So we have 1, 2, 3, and that's going to count as our first double crochet. And then in the 6th chain from the hook, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to do a double crochet. So we yarn over, insert, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've created our first little mesh hole, and next we're going to chain 1, and then in the 2nd chain from the hook, 1, 2, we'll do a double crochet. So you'll yarn over, insert, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So just continue this until you get to the end, doing a chain 1, and then in the 2nd chain from the hook, you'll do a double crochet. At the end of the row, you'll do your last double crochet into that last chain, and then we're going to chain 3, which will count as 1 double crochet. So we have 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 1 more. So we'll chain 1 and then flip our work. Next is a double crochet into that double crochet down below. So we'll insert, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So we've continued making these mesh holes by doing the chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet below. And you'll just continue this all the way until the end of the row. At the end, you'll see all of those chains we made at the beginning, and you're going to double crochet into the 2nd chain from your hook. This will finish out our 2nd row, and you're going to repeat the instructions for the 2nd row until you have the number of rows that gives you that height of the rectangle for the poncho that you like. So mine was 21 inches, but continue crocheting until you have the height that's best for your measurements. For the mixed woven mesh, I used Nordic Hook's free online pattern, which you should definitely check out in the description box down below. And I'm going to walk through the steps that they've instructed and add my own little tips and tricks. And I wanted to go over this pattern before we get started. So there are 2 different types of rows. You're going to start with a double crochet row. That's the one on the bottom. And we have 5 double crochet clustered together. And then there's a 3 chain space, which makes that little hole, and then another cluster of 5 double crochet. You just repeat that for that whole row. For the second row, it's a triple crochet row. So you have that cluster of 3 triple crochet with 1 chain in between them on top of that 5 double crochet, and then again a 3 chain space. Alternating the double crochet and triple crochet rows plays around with the heights of those stitches and creates different size holes in our mesh, and I think it creates a really cool pattern. You're going to start by making a chain that's around the width of the rectangle. We want this chain to be a multiple of 8 plus 7. So you'll crochet in sets of 8, crochet 8, and then another 8 until you have about the width of the rectangle. And when you have almost that width, then you'll crochet 7 more chains. I crocheted 319 chains, and it was helpful to add a stitch marker every 24 or 48 stitches to keep track of how many chains I had. Next, you'll count 4 stitches from your hook, and in that 4th stitch, you'll do 1 double crochet. So yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Then you'll crochet 1 double crochet into the next chain, and repeat that 2 more times for a total of 4 double crochet, and then you'll have that chain 3 at the beginning, which will count as 1 double crochet. So we're creating this cluster of 5 double crochet. Then you'll chain 3 and do 1 double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook. Then you'll do another double crochet into the next stitch until you have another cluster of 5 double crochet. Repeat this part until you get to the end of the row. So you'll do a chain 3, and then in the 4th chain from your hook, you'll do a cluster of 5 double crochet into each of those next 5 chains. This is probably the hardest part of the pattern, is getting it all set up. So it's really important to be diligent about making sure that there's 5 double crochet in your cluster and that there's 3 chains in between each of those clusters. So this is going to make sure that the pattern goes smoothly all the way until the end. When you get to the end, the 5th double crochet of that last cluster should fit perfectly into that last chain. Now that we're done with our first double crochet row, we'll start on a triple crochet row by chaining 5. 4 of those chains count as the first triple crochet, and that 5th chain counts as the chain 1 in between our triple crochet. Next, we'll do 1 triple crochet into that 3rd double crochet in that set of 5. So we yarn over twice, insert, yarn over, come out. So we have 4 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So the stitch is taller than the double crochet, it's a triple crochet. Then we'll chain 1 and do 1 more triple crochet into that last double crochet of that set of 5. So now our triple crochet will always create these pillars above the foundation of that 5 double crochet. There will always be a triple crochet at the beginning, the middle, and the end of our 5 double crochet, and have a 1 chain in between each of the triple crochet to create that little space. Next, we'll do a chain 3 and then create our pillars at the beginning, middle, and end with 1 chain in between. So that'll look like 1 triple crochet in the first double crochet of 5, chain 1, triple crochet in the 3rd, chain 1, and then triple crochet in the 5th of those 5 double crochet. So continue that until you get to the end. The last triple crochet you'll do into the top of that chain 3 from the beginning. To start the double crochet row, we'll chain 3, counting as one of our 5 double crochet, and then we'll double crochet into the space between our triple crochet below, then in the top of the triple crochet, into the space, and then into the top of the next triple crochet for a cluster of 5. For the rest of the row, you'll repeat chain 3 to create a chain space, and then 1 double crochet into the tops of the next 5 stitches, which are a triple crochet in those chain 1 spaces. Now the pattern just repeats, alternating double crochet and triple crochet rows until you have the height that you want. Next up is everyone's favorite step, weaving in all of your ends. Now is a good time to block your rectangle if you would like to. I'm not an expert in blocking, so I would definitely recommend checking out someone else's video. But I did this for the black poncho because it was that acrylic and a little bit stiff, so I wanted it to be softer and lay a little bit better after this process. So how I blocked it was I filled up my bathtub with water, put the rectangle in, made sure it was all wet, drained the water, squeezed the water out, and then rolled out a towel, put the rectangle on top, rolled it up to try to squeeze out more of the water. Then I got a fresh towel, laid out the rectangle, and tried to space it out so it was the appropriate shape and the appropriate width, and then I let it dry for about 1 day. It's finally time to take our long rectangle, fold it in half, and then slip stitch to leave our 1-foot head hole. Here I have my folded rectangle with the head hole, and then to the right I have stitch markers holding the 2 pieces together, and now we'll just slip stitch from the corner all the way until the head hole. For your slip stitches, it's pretty simple. Just make sure that your stitches on both sides of this folded poncho match up so that it's all seamless. I would also recommend your last row be a double crochet row because it's going to be a little bit more sturdy for this slip stitching. And just continue slip stitching until you get to your last stitch marker for your 1-foot head hole, or feel free to make a different size. Weave in the last of your ends and then flip your poncho inside out. Now the poncho is finished. Please let me know if you ended up making it, what yarn you chose, what colors, what patterns. I would love to know what you did. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.